Okay, so have you ever been in that situation,
Yeah.
where your partner's being kind of flirty
Yeah.
and it's like, is this harmless?
Right.
Is this, something I should be worried about? Well, that is exactly what we're diving into today. It's all about navigating that whole world of a partner's flirting. And we've got this really interesting relationship guide that we're gonna kind of pick apart today. We've also got some real life stories from couples to really illustrate kind of what can happen. And of course, we've got to bring in the experts.
Of course.
So we've got some good stuff from Dr. Helen Fisher.
Always.
Yeah, she's great. And Dr. Esther Perel, too.
Oh, fantastic.
So we're going to get into, how do we understand this whole flirting thing?
Yeah.
How do we manage it? And honestly, how can we use it to actually, strengthen our relationships?
Because believe it or not, it's possible.
Yeah, I know. It's like
Oh, guys.
flirting, really.
Yeah.
But, this guide starts out and it basically says, look, flirting, it's both captivating, but it can also be really concerning, right? And I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
It's like you're kind of flattered,
Yeah.
but then there's that part of you that's like, oh,
What's going on here?
Yeah.
And I think that's why you have to understand what's behind the flirting, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about, oh, this is good or bad.
Right.
It's about getting to the root of it. And this guide actually gives some reasons why people in relationships might flirt, and I think it's good to run through these.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear them.
So sometimes, people just need an ego boost.
Oh, we all do.
We all need a little validation every now and then.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a big one. Some people are just social butterflies. They just love to connect with people.
Right.
And that might come across as flirting.
Okay.
Past experiences. If somebody has been in a relationship where they didn't get enough attention, they may seek it out in other ways.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe they're attention seeking.
Sure.
Right. But here's an interesting one, and I think this is a really important one to remember. Sometimes people are just playful by nature. That's just how they are. That's their personality.
They don't even realize they're doing it.
Exactly. It's not, calculated. It's just them being them.
Yeah. So I guess what you're saying is we really, really have to understand our partner.
Absolutely.
Right. And which of these things, or maybe it's a combo, right?
It could be a combo.
Yeah, but really try to figure out what's going on with them.
Right, because that's going to give you a lot of insight into their behavior.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we have to understand it.
Right.
So so the guide goes on and it starts talking about, some of the downsides of all of this flirting thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, reading this was kind of scary.
Yeah.
Because it can lead to all these issues, right? You could have jealousy, you could have arguments, trust gets broken.
Absolutely.
And then that can destabilize the whole relationship.
Can really rock the boat.
Yeah. And they had these examples in the guide that really brought this to life, which I thought were really helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was okay, this is how this could actually play out.
Right.
So they talked about this couple, Emily and Ryan. And Emily, she's just a natural flirt. It's just, that's her.
Yeah.
But they've got this great communication. So Ryan totally gets it.
He's not threatened by it.
No. And it's harmless. But then on the flip side, they've got Sarah and Mike. And for them, the flirting led to an affair.
Wow.
And it caused so much damage.
Of course.
It's
Okay, you go.
heartbreaking. So it's those two stories really show you how the same behavior can play out in such different ways.
And that comes down to communication, being able to talk about it, understanding those underlying issues.
Totally. So that's where I think the expert advice comes in.
Oh, absolutely.
Because this is where we get some real wisdom.
Right.
There was this quote from Dr. Helen Fisher that really stuck with me. She said that flirting can be totally natural.
Sure.
But boundaries and clear intentions, those are so crucial.
Especially within a relationship.
Right.
Right? You have to know where the lines are.
Yeah. And then Dr. Esther Perel, she had this whole other take on it, which I thought was fascinating. She was saying that flirting, yeah, it can trigger insecurities.
Absolutely.
But she was saying that if you're willing to dig into those feelings, with your partner, it can actually make the relationship stronger.
Yeah, it's about facing those uncomfortable feelings head on.
Yeah.
Working through them together.
Yeah. I love that. It's like turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly.
So it's not about eliminating flirting altogether. It's like, how do we deal with it in a healthy way?
Right. And this guide, it really focuses on that. It gives like some really solid advice on how to navigate this whole thing.
Okay, well, give me the goods. What's in the guide?
Well, they talk about, obviously the open communication, right? That's a number one.
Yeah.
Building trust.
Sure.
Setting those boundaries that we were just talking about.
Okay.
And developing emotional intelligence, which is, being aware of your own emotions and our partners.
Okay. That's a lot. It's a lot to unpack.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
But the good thing is they have all these actionable tips, like very specific things you can do.
Ooh, okay. Give me some of those.
Okay, so one of the things, and I know you mentioned this earlier, is avoid assumptions, clarify intentions.
Oh, yeah. I am so guilty of this.
I think we all are sometimes.
Right, yeah. It's so easy to jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
But honestly, just ask.
Just
ask.
Right.
Like what's going on here?
Exactly.
Because one time I thought my partner was totally flirting with someone at a party.
Oh no.
I was ready to walk out. I was so upset. But it turned out they were just talking about a work project.
Oh wow.
It was we laughed about it later.
That's good.
But it taught me a lesson, just ask.
Just ask.
Because you can save yourself so much heartache.
Absolutely.
So, okay, what else? What are some other tips?
Another good one is encourage honesty, share feelings and concerns.
Okay, so how do you do that?
I think it's about creating a safe space
Okay.
where you both feel comfortable being vulnerable.
Okay.
Right?
So you don't feel judged.
Exactly. No matter what you share, your partner's going to listen and try to understand.
Okay.
And I think when you have that, you can communicate so much more effectively.
Yeah. All of this is really about communication.
Right.
This whole thing.
At the core of it.
Okay. So what's another tip? What else did they have in there?
This one I think is really important, especially in light of, the examples we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nurture, trust, consistent reliability.
Oh, yeah. Trust is huge.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And, after reading those stories, I think it just highlighted that, trust is not something that just happens overnight.
No.
Right.
It's built over time.
It takes time. It takes consistency.
Yeah, it's about those actions.
Actions.
Yeah.
Showing up for each other day after day.
Yeah. And if you break that trust, it's really hard to get it back.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today.
We have.
Right. And, I guess the big takeaway, the main takeaway is that if you're dealing with a partner who's, kind of flirty or maybe a lot flirty, it's really about understanding where they're coming from and communicating.
Always communicating.
Yeah, and having that strong foundation of trust.
Yeah. And as you think about all of this, I want to leave you with one question.
Okay.
How might understanding your own flirting style, right,
Interesting.
contribute to healthier communication in your relationship?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's something to think about.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for more guidance, more information, this guide actually has some really good resources.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, tell us about those.
They mention The Anatomy of Love by Dr. Helen Fisher.
Love that book.
Yeah. The State of Affairs by Dr. Esther Perel.
Great book.
And even, professional organizations like the National Relationship Therapy Association
Okay.
and the American Community of Marriage and Family Therapy.
Perfect. So lots of resources out there.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think we've given everyone a lot to think about. So thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.